And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Monday, September 25th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company. Our guest host today, Judge Barry Tatum.
Okay, thanks to everybody tuning in. As we like to say, Coleman's on special assignment, so you got the B team this today and maybe a few more days coming up. But on Monday mornings, we always have Absolute Kubota. We got Don Hamlet this morning, but Don, would you indulge me one favor?
Yes, sir.
I want to tell my grandkids, Tatum and Taylor, to have a good day at school today.
Tatum and Tater, please have an awesome day in school today.
There you go. There you go. What's happening at Absolute Kubota?
Well, there's a lot of things are going on. Right now, we have the thing that I'd like to remind all the farmers about, the Tennessee Ag Enhancement Program's getting ready to kick off here in October. Want to invite all those guys to come in and take a look at the Kubota hay products that we have if they think they're going to be making a purchase on that. I'd like to urge all of our business people, farmers that think they might be wanting to make a end-of-the-year tax purchase. We run into that a lot of times every year to come on in. Let's make sure we have what you're looking for. If we don't, we'll start working on getting it into the shop for you and everything. I think the 31st is going to fall on maybe a Sunday this year or something or another. So, we won't be there for sure that day. I don't think we're going to be open that Saturday. So, go ahead and be thinking ahead of time. Talk to your tax guy. Come in, see us. We'll get you fixed up. The other thing we always have going in the fall of the year every year is your aerating, fertilizing, overseeding. We've got pallets of seed and fertilizer sitting right by the front door. So, our customers come in, they want to grab a bag or two, we can just help you get that loaded on the way back out to your vehicle and get you going. I like to remind everybody thinks springtime is the time of the year to do all your growing and planting and everything, but actually fall is the better time to do it. It gives your grass seed time to come up, germinate, and then over the winter it gives your root system time to get more established, so that next year when it's this time of the year and it's a little bit dry, then it's set up and ready to go.
A lot of people don't realize that, but September and October traditionally are the driest times in our community.
It is.
And we get a lot of moisture, of course, over the winter, and though it's cool and we don't see stuff growing and blooming,
right?
Those roots are
they're still going down. Tall fescue seed it's a cool season grass anyway, so it gives it plenty of time to get established. Of course, there we as always Kubota and Exmark, Hustler, we still have all the 0% financing. Had a young man text me yesterday. My wife and I were playing in a little golf scramble at the club, and he texted and wanted to know if we had any 0% financing. And I said, yes, we do. So I think he's going to come in one day this week and check out a new lawnmower and get himself all fixed up. So it's hard to beat 0% finance.
You play a lot of golf, don't you?
I try to, Judge.
See, I've seen you a couple of times where you're headed to the golf course, and you mentioned yesterday you're doing business over the phone at the golf course.
I try not to stop doing business, because if I don't keep doing business, I can't afford to play golf. So I try not to stop.
Well, you mentioned that briefly. Besides the Kubota, you've got Land Pride, Hustler, Landmark, Red Max trimmers and blowers. Of course, had the Exmark mowers as well. So you've got just about anything covered for whether you've got a quarter-acre yard or whether you've got a 20-acre farm.
That's right. We have all that there. If you like to do your own services on any of those pieces of equipment, we're going to keep belts, blades, filters, fluids. We're going to keep all of that stuff in stock for the items that we sell. You can just go see Colin or Gunner in our parts department. They'll take care of you down there. If you're the kind of person that does not like to do their own services, then you can call Clint over in our service department, and he will schedule you up an appointment to get your oil changed or your services or your repairs, and you can come in, see those guys, and get that taken care of.
And that's something else to think about during those winter months when you're not having to mow every week or so.
That's right.
Great time to bring something in to get serviced.
Perfect time. I'll start in January trying to hammer in on everybody, so don't wait till April when everybody else does to bring your lawnmower in to get it serviced. Just drop it off anytime during the week during the winter months, and there's no rush that way. That way, when it is time to go out and make your first cut, you're ready to go while everybody else is, kind of waiting on their services. So.
Well, of course, you know where you're going. Maybe it's the golf course today.
No, not today.
You're going to be at 1506 West Main Street.
Right? I will be. Please come by and see me. If we can help you with anything, give us a call, 615-449-6171. Check out our website. It's pretty simple. It's just www.absolutekubota.com.
All right. Don, have a great day, and thank you for your time. And hopefully Coleman will be back next Monday. If not, I don't know who will be here.
Me neither, but we'll make it work one way or the other.
It won't be time down the drain.
That's right. That's right.
Right. And with that, it's 10 minutes after the hour, and we're going to talk to our guests for the first segment on here. And pleased to have Steve Mull and his son Jason. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are y'all today?
Oh, great.
Well, it's you came in and MJ greeted you like an old friend. She said she hadn't seen you in how long, and I've heard some recent advertisements on the radio where Steve Mull Plumbing, which has been a long time advertiser on WANT, is doing a little bit of a shift here. So tell us what's happening about that, Steve.
Well, we're just going to step aside and let...
Might want to lean into that microphone. I think MJ either wanted you to do that or she was trying to smack you in the head. I don't know.
Probably smack me. Now we're just going to slow down and let my son take over and his wife and just enjoy things a little bit.
Before we went on the air, I asked you how long you had been in the plumbing business, and you said, well, you didn't get in it to keep track of time, but I think we came up with 40 plus years.
About 41 years, I guess.
And you said something, too, that you didn't keep up with because you didn't have to go to work.
Well, didn't say that, I don't think.
I misunderstood.
Misunderstood that. We just, it didn't matter what time it was if the phone rung. It was time to go to work.
It was time to go to work. Okay. I was thinking you're one of those people that said, I enjoy what I'm doing so much it didn't feel like I was having to go to work.
I have enjoyed it.
Good.
I've enjoyed meeting the people and, just spending time with them, taking care of their issue, and, created a world of friends.
I always like to ask somebody that's had a long career like yourself, a successful career doing this, how'd you get started in the plumbing business? Did you grow up in it? Is it something that just kind of fell in your lap or saw a need? How'd you get started?
Really, I had a tractor wreck and was sitting at the City Cafe at Carthage, and a man by the name of Benton Green, I couldn't walk. And he needed a little help one day, and I said, well, I can't hardly walk. And he said, well, I just need you to take a stick and push this stuff back under the house to me so I don't have to crawl in and out. And it went from that to, I think he set me up to start crawling in and out. He just didn't explain it that day that way.
Okay.
It was a little bit later that you get to go under there and do it, and then we just continued on from there. He pretty much... I was very, very blessed to have, he taught me the trade.
Right.
And, and pretty much as we continued to work together after I got to where I could go again, it went from handing them stuff to putting them in, and next thing you know, before I knew it, I was going to the store and getting the parts and everything, and wasn't too long to Mr. Green said, well, I'm done.
So he had his time in and he was ready to cash it out.
And, so we just progressed from there and then went on.
Now, did he have a business up in Carthage? You mentioned that you was at the cafe up there.
He did. He had a little, at that, like most of us at that time, was just a one-man operation and, just whatever he did. I don't remember of any advertising or anything back then. He did. It was just word of mouth. And
right.
So it took off, and I was just a little bit more ambitious after we got done Carthage and moved down this way. And of course, we went through some recessions, and
right.
I was always very, very blessed that when a time hit like that, it was a door got open somewhere else.
Well, that's a good way to step into that because when you started out, you didn't have the fella who's sitting here at the table with us, your son.
Sir, I did.
When did he come along?
Oh, Lord, but
Maybe we'll ask him.
yeah. How many years ago did you come along?
Well, I guess I came along in 1982. So that was I was actually born about the time that the company got its official start.
Okay.
I guess I was born in '82 and the company's official start date, but I think Daddy'd been at the plumbing for a few years by that point, just kind of going to work every day and finding work to do and getting going. But I guess '82 was the start of all the good things in his life. I came along, the company officially started, and he's been happy ever since.
Well, I'm sure your dad, and I know I do, appreciate your modesty about that. But, born in '82, but we're about to go to a commercial break and a traffic report. But what's your earliest remembrance, or memory, I guess, about the plumbing business? When did you realize that my dad deals with plumbing stuff?
I don't know what age I was, but I was pretty young, maybe school age, maybe not even school age yet. And I can actually remember going out on job sites with Daddy, and at the time he'd give me a $5 bill to pick up trash on the job site, and I thought I was really doing something. Now I realize he was just keeping me busy where he could work without having to really watch me. But I don't even know, probably 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe at the most.
All right. Well, you got an early start on that, and he was just wetting your beak on there to get you a taste of it. MJ's got her headphones on, giving us the nod. We got a traffic report about an accident on I-40 out here at mile marker 236, I believe, and we'll hear a word from our sponsors.
Thanks, Judge. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford. Get a regular oil change, $39.95, up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, $16.73 West Main. Now with traffic, let's go ahead and check back in with Chuck.
Last check, it was still running slow. They're coming out of Lebanon and Wilson County from the earlier crash, 40 westbound at the 236 mile marker. Again, a bit of a delay as you leave Wilson County this morning down the interstate here, headed towards Nashville. It's crowded 24 up through the Hickory Hollow area. We've already had a couple of incidents as you come from Murfreesboro towards Nashville on 24. Give yourself a little bit of extra time. It's spilling in Dixon County now on 40 eastbound at 840. Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. Check out their website, nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Time flies when you're having fun. Happy birthday for 30 years, WANT. This is Barry Tatum, a loyal listener since 1993.
Hey, this is Pete Weber, voice of the Nashville Predators, and I want to extend congratulations on their 30 years on the air for WANT and WCOR. All the best to you from Smashville.
This is Wilson County Sheriff Robert Bryan. Congratulations to WANT 98.9 on 30 years of service to the community of Wilson County. Thanks.
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on a compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
I'm Michael Starr, a licensed local insurance agent with Health Markets Insurance Agency in Lebanon, Tennessee. Choosing the right Medicare plan for you can be confusing. Let me help you find a plan that best fits your needs and budget. Call 615-830-4875 to speak with a licensed insurance agent for a free appointment, virtually, by phone, or in person, to review your specific needs and help find a plan that's right for you. Health Markets Insurance Agency Incorporated is licensed in all states and D.C. Service and product availability varies. Agents may be compensated based on enrollment. No obligation to enroll.
Welcome back to Coleman and Company. Barry Tatum sitting in for Coleman is on special assignment. We're enjoying our time talking with Steve Mull and Jason Mull of Steve Mull Plumbing. And we were just getting into the issue about when Jason's first memories about the plumbing business. He started out like that, where he told the fellow to just shove the stuff back in there where I can get to it. And the way he hooked you into it was giving you a $5 bill to pick up debris on job sites.
That was it.
So plumbing, people don't realize how precise you have to be with it. And because it's not just a matter of putting a pipe and having it a water source and having a spigot on the other end. You've got water heaters, you've got, I guess, pressure dampeners or dampeners in there that they have, backflow valves.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to have your vent pipes, and you've got two separate systems. You got the clean water coming in, and you got to dispose of the dirty water coming out. But that's something that falls under the purview of any plumber, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's and materials have changed. When you started out, Steve, I guess you were dealing with cast iron pipe and galvanized pipe.
I was.
And I don't even know if did they have PVC when you first started out?
Well, they came. It came in an era of ABS, which was the black plastic type pipe was first one I can recollect using. And it had major issues that once it ever got installed, if it got bowed or anything, it was gone. And eventually they came out with a PVC and done away with that. Made life a whole lot simpler. You could pick it up and go with it. Piece of cast iron you had to work at.
Well, see, my dad had a pipe threader, and he plumbed the house I grew up in, and he used galvanized pipe. Mm-hmm. But at some point, I remember I came in from school or stopped in to visit one day, and there's a stack of pipe outside. He'd replumbed the house after it, and the old galvanized pipe, it looked like my arteries. They were clogged, and it cut down the water flow. But do you have that problem with PVC?
No, PVC, as long as you don't get no kind of foreign debris in the system, it generally takes care of itself. We don't replace very much PVC. Drain lines, ton of grease down the drain will create a problem over a period of time. But if your fee sinks up about once or twice a month, put some Dawn dishwashing in, pull them both at the same time with hot water in it, it will help.
Okay.
En contraire, drainos and liquid plumbers and stuff like that, they'll help to a little bit, but they're normally just going to go through the very bottom of the pipe, and if you take it out, you'll have a little bitty hole, and it'll start right back up because it can only eat what it touches.
Well, it's like I said, it's like the arteries that I have in my heart on there. But Jason, you kind of got started in the plumbing business, picking up debris, but when you work with your family, when you see it around it every day, you learn how to sweat copper pipes and solder them and put together joints and hold a light at the very least for what your dad's trying to do. So did you do that when you were coming up in school?
Oh, yes. Matter of fact, sweating copper was probably the first. You kind of have those moments of pride when you spend a lot of time holding the light and running to get the fittings. My first task, I can remember the first summer that I went to work. Daddy laying all the fittings out and making me memorize what a 45 and a 22 and a Y and a T and all the fittings, and said, "Now I don't want that plumber to ever have to go get one of those out of the truck. You need to know what they are when you ask for them." And so I did that for a little while, and then I wanted to do more, and taught me how to sweat copper, and that was kind of that. That pride moment where you do something where you feel like it's actually plumbing and not just being a gopher. Of course, then, over the course of a few years, you start doing more of it, and you get to where you plumb your first house by yourself, the water system. And then it's when you do the drains and vents, and you do it. And then you do so many of them, you think, boy, I'm sick of plumbing houses. Maybe I'd like to be able to go do something else maybe. But it really came along from school age. And I guess by the time I was, in my early 20s at the latest, maybe even a little before then, I guess I could plumb a house by myself. And so it was always good to know that I had a trade, that, even though it's one of those things, you grow up in it and you do it so much, sometimes you lose the appreciation for it, and it just becomes something you know how to do, and then then you get a call from somebody who's something's not working, and they'll go, "Can you help me?" And you realize that not everybody knows how to do it. Not everybody did that their whole life.
That's exactly right.
So
Yeah.
I'm certainly glad to have learned it early. That's for sure.
Well, you mentioned that you got to the point where you felt comfortable enough with it that you could do your own house and stuff, but something else happened in your life, and that's been what your career.
Yes.
I don't want to say a career necessarily; it's a calling.
Yes.
You got called to the ministry, called to preach.
I did, yes, sir. It's been about 12 years ago now when I had been honestly, I got, again, not only blessed to have had a career in a trade taught, but my parents were youth directors when Brother Russ Stevens was pastor at Hillcrest. And so my earliest memories of life were at the church while they were working, preparing for a youth event or something in that nature. And so it was always just kind of part of my life. And so as I got old enough and, kind of went my own way and came back around, I began working with the youth. And then one Sunday, the pastor got sick. And one of those deals where it was Sunday morning and he got sick and not time to get pulpit supply lined up. And he called me and said, "Can you just do something?" And so with about an hour's notice, I prepared my first sermon. And didn't really plan on doing a sermon, planned on doing a devotion and a prayer time and going on. And it was about a 15, 18-minute sermon. And from there, much like picking up trash on the job site as a young man, from there, it just kind of lit the fire, and so I did surrender to ministry. And then 3-4 years later, Rocky Valley Baptist Church, one of the guys that I played high school football called and said, "Didn't I see on the Facebook you got ordained in the ministry a couple of years ago?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And the rest is history, I guess. I went to preach one Sunday for him, the first Sunday of August, 2014, and went to preach one sermon for him, and I don't guess I've left since then. So
you must be doing a good job.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'm doing good enough they ain't run me off yet. So,
well, and also you started a family during all that time as well. And tell us about your family.
Yes,
because I know you and I will both hear about it if we don't.
Yeah. So part of that growing up in church, I actually met my wife, Leette, when I was, I guess, 12. Her family started coming to church where we were. And so we met then and grew up as friends, never really dated, both kind of did our own thing in other directions in that regard. And then, of course, we obviously reconnected and ended up married. Now we have 4 kids, all of them in Watertown schools, one of them in the high school and 2 of them in the middle school and 1 in kindergarten. So we've managed to get them all into the school age anyway. So we've been very, very blessed for sure.
Now, do you pay any of them $5? Or I guess with inflation, it's probably $20 now to pick up trash around a construction site.
Not so much on the construction site. I do get them out to the boys were introduced to weed eating this year. And so my 7th grader, he's convinced that weed eating is a much higher paying job than I am. I sometimes have to remind him baseball bats cost money. And at this point, I lose money on the string because he keeps running out of string every time he's weed eating. But yeah, try to get them to work. Try to get them. They've been to work with me a time or two on the construction sites. But with all the ball and the golf and all the other things they do, it's hard to find time to get them going, really.
Well, it is that. But as we wrap up here in the last minute or so that we have left, you're taking over the family business, the business that your dad and mom have grown for the past 40 years that you have some experience in. So you're not like coming into this not knowing what you're getting into. You've been in it for a while. Any changes that you see?
Well, the only changes really would just be changes that happen with time in terms of using technology and taking advantage of some of those things. But the biggest thing when Dad and I talked last year about this season, there were a couple things that we wanted to make sure of. One, we wanted to start the transition while he was still able to be here for me to lean on and ask questions. And two, we wanted to make sure that it worked with the stuff at the church. And so we've been blessed that it has, but just trying to stick with that same family care and knowing that when you call in, you can talk to somebody whose last name is Mull and try to provide that care for customers that we have. And obviously just try to continue to develop just like we always have, stay on the cutting edge, try to provide the same service you can get from, any of the bigger companies out of Nashville. We have all the same equipment that they do. We try to stay there where the customers in Lebanon get the same service that they deserve.
And with that, you mentioned about contact. It's still going to be Steve Mull Plumbing. Your location here on Lebanon on South Maple Street. What's the telephone number?
The telephone number is 615-449-5019, just the same as it's been, I guess, as long as I can remember.
All righty. Steve, last word. Anything you'd like to add?
Just want to thank everybody.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for your support of WANT and your family on this. And I know you take a lot of pride in the business that you built and the family that you have. And well done, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by our friends at Absolute Kubota, where premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment. 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Wrapping up the earlier wreck in Wilson County. It's had traffic slow go on 40 westbound at the 236-mile marker. Again, just outside of Lebanon. They're moving a wreck 65 northbound at 440 coming up from the south. The heavy traffic continues up from Brentwood, Franklin, up through Williamson County. It looks like it's pretty crowded now on 40 eastbound through Kingston Springs coming in from Dixon County. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken is catering. They're also hiring. Soon they'll have that fourth store open. Go by and see them today and enjoy some of that Princess Hot Chicken. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Lauren Massetti here, singer-songwriter from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm so excited to be a part of the second annual Sips and Sounds of September on September 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Rural Hill Farm in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I hope you'll join us for great food, great sips, and great sounds. All proceeds will benefit Wilson Rides, a local nonprofit organization that provides transportation for senior citizens who no longer drive. Tickets are on sale right now at eventbrite.com or wilsonridesinc.org.
When it comes to Medicare plans designed to meet your needs and budget, there's no place like Farm Bureau Health Plans. We've got Medicare Advantage plans, Medicare supplements, Part D, dental, vision, designed with folks like you in mind. Visit our office at 214 North Castle Heights here in Lebanon. You can see Charlotte Webster for your Medicare or other health plan needs. You can always get a quote for auto, home, life insurance, and also commercial insurance. Then again, West Dugan, Farm Bureau, Castle Heights office.
A slight chance of showers and storms continues through the day today, warming up to a high of 78, down to 57 tonight with a slight chance of showers and storms. That continues for your Tuesday, high of 80. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm Stormy Clausen.
Welcome back to Coleman & Company. We're on the home stretch now at 7:33 in the morning. And folks that are regular listeners to Coleman & Company know that the second half is sponsored by Mount Juliet Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, located at 600 Pleasant Grove Road, Mount Juliet, the easy side.
The easy side of the interstate, Judge.
Easy side of the interstate. Billy Mullinax, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, and before I forget, my brother sent me a text message this morning with a couple of things. He said, first of all, tell you hello. And second of all, he was asking about electric cars, electric vehicles. Do y'all have those for sale?
We do not have any all-electric that are available right now. Now, I know that there are some plans, and they are working on some all-electric, but currently we do have some hybrid vehicles, which has gas and electric both. Very short distance electric motors that are in those, but we do have the hybrids, but no all electrics.
Do you have a demand for that? Do people come in and say, I want a 100% electric automobile?
Well,
if you don't, I'm going somewhere else.
You know, we don't right now, but I think that, that may change as people know that you have them. Most of the time, people that are looking for something like that, they know exactly what they're looking for and who's got what. And if they know which brands have the all-electrics available. So we don't have that. People coming in right now saying, hey, I want an all-electric vehicle, I think because they probably know we don't.
Well, I'm a traditionalist. I like having an internal combustion engine.
Yep, me too.
And I'm familiar with it. But listen to these loud trucks going up and down the road with the loud buffers.
Yep.
I kind of want to have electric cars now. At least they won't have the yapping sound.
The loud exhaust system.
Yep.
But that's what we had when we were young, Judge. That's what we wanted.
You remind me of stuff like that, and you're right. And but that's a sure sign, as well as wearing my pants a little higher.
That's exactly right. That's right.
So, UAW strike, that's been in the news for the last week or so. That,
yes.
United Auto Workers are doing targeted strikes of all of the big three automakers.
Yep.
Any impact in Mount Juliet?
Well, really until they expanded the strike on Friday of last week, and it now includes our parts distribution centers. So that is going to have an impact, and it's soon enough now. I don't know what alternate plans that Stellantis, which is our, if you will, our parent company that has the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram brands. I'm sure they've got some alternate plans. I've read that, they're going to use some non-union workers in those facilities, but that's where our parts distribution centers is where we get our parts when we work on vehicles that are in our service shop. So we'll see. That definitely will have if they're not able to bring us parts, that has a very quick impact on what we do.
Well, that's, it's unfortunate that labor and management ownership can't come together, but sometimes we've seen this in the past, fortunately not that often.
That's right.
They put pressure on the public.
Yep.
Out there in the community.
That's
and
right.
Things start to happen.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Anything else as we wrap up here, your time, that we want to discuss about specials, deals?
Well, we just, Judge, I know you listen to us every Monday. We have to tell people to go to our website to see our entire inventory at mtjulietcdjr.com. That's mountjulietcdjr.com. You know what else, Judge?
What's that?
You might even see your neighbor there.
Well, and that's the truth. You see a lot of your cars around the community.
Yeah.
Even now, when you were in Lebanon, you saw them. But when you moved to Mount Juliet, you thought, well, you won't see the logo as much. But I think you'd see it more.
Yeah. Well, we certainly, of course, after we grew and went to Mount Juliet, is because we moved down there because we had outgrown our facility here. And we couldn't accommodate all of the people and the vehicles that we needed in order to supply what was coming in.
Well, it's been a good move for Mount Juliet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and like we say, you're on the easy side.
That's right.
Of the interstate, easy side of Mount Juliet. Open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 to 7, and got flexible financial options, quick and convenient service. And what's the telephone number?
615-288-8525.
All right. Anything else, Billy?
Just, check out our website. We have prices there with all of our inventory, and you don't have to do anything to get our great low price. Just go there and see it.
All right. Billy, thank you for your sponsorship of Coleman, and it's like clockwork.
Thank you.
Good to see you as always. And with that, it's about 21 minutes before 8 o'clock, and when Coleman calls and says that I'm going to be on special, or says that he's going to be on special assignment, and gives me the privilege, and I do consider it a privilege to be guest. Most of the time he has a spot filled. He called this time and he said, well, I have a guest for the first segment, the Moles family, but he said, I have a empty slot for the second half, and he said, if you've got somebody in mind, and I said, I do, but I'll have to check and see if they're available. So I just want to introduce our audience here, a gentleman who, and I say this with all sincerity, made a tremendous impact on me about 6 weeks ago, I believe it was. Brian Watson. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Judge?
I'm fine, and it's not because we have the same barber and have a sense of humor, but
I did my hair just for radio.
Well, and you look great too. We'll just have to take our word for it on here. But is this your first time to be on Coleman and Company?
It is, sir.
Well, you don't get to meet Coleman Walker. There may be a picture around here, but Coleman's been in and out of radio for 60 years and is a member of the Tennessee Radio Hall of Fame. But he's had this show for since WANT went on the air back in 1993.
Yeah, coming up on 30 years.
And so he's kind of a local institution, but I feel like I've got one up on him on here. Just to give a little background on this, about 6 weeks ago, I was invited by Judge Hagan to go to the Methodist Church one morning, and he said, there's going to be a program in the morning about leadership. And he said, it's at 6:30, and he said, you care to go with me? And I said, well, save me a seat, but don't hold your breath. And but I drug myself out down there and didn't know anything about the program. Came in there, Susie, James, and her husband were there that morning. But you've had an interesting career. You're a resident of Lebanon.
Yes,
sir. And the discussion was about leadership. And you're affiliated with a program, Thayer Leadership.
Yeah, so Thayer Leadership, it's a company based out of West Point.
West Point, New York.
West Point, New York at the United States Military Academy. And the company goes around and does leadership development for the private companies. The faculty is largely former military senior leaders. Some of them have been professors at West Point. Some of them have been practitioners, but all of them have a passion for leadership. And so we like helping in businesses becoming better leaders.
Well, that was the topic of your program that morning, about what characteristics you're looking for in a leader, and how do you promote that from within your organization? How do you build a stronger organization by focusing on those characters and qualities that we have? But as far as your background, after hearing your talk that morning, I thought, I'm going to look this guy up. You're a retired Major General.
I am.
2 stars in the United States Army, and you're a graduate of the West Point, the United States Military Academy. Is that correct?
That's correct. I graduated in 1982, and I was fortunate enough to have great non-commissioned officers and great soldiers, and so I had 34 and a half years of a successful career. And to be honest, I went to West Point for all the wrong reasons. I was going to go there to get some free education. I was going to go there to become an engineer, but I was planning on only staying 2 years. I was going to then go to Georgia Tech. That gal's name was Cindy Vitale. But that didn't work out because she dumped me about 90 days into my time at West Point. So I was a man without a plan. But during my time at West Point, I had an opportunity to go join a unit, and I fell head over heels in love with being around the company of soldiers, and I never looked back. It was what I was called to do.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken on this, your father was a career military man.
He is.
He is, or a two-star general as well.
He retired as a two-star. He lives with us here in Lebanon, and he was in the Chemical Corps, and he was a very instrumental part of our nation's nuclear program. He did all the nuclear testing. He's just an amazing, amazing man.
Well, growing up in that career, had several different billets, I imagine, during his post during his career. So you saw a lot of the world, saw a lot of the country, I'm assuming, growing up.
I did. I didn't want to ever go into the Army.
That's what I was getting.
Yeah, it was not my passion. When my dad, growing up, I thought to myself, they wear uniforms, they wear, badges on their chests, they've got rules and regulations. This is all the same reasons I didn't go into the Boy Scouts, and that's not for me. And then 34 and a half years later, I've ended my career in the Army.
Got appointed to West Point, and one of the things I do want to say about the service academies, people talk about Ivy League schools or elite schools. In my opinion, the education and the quality of the people who are at all of the service academies is top notch. You're not going to get a better education anywhere in the world, I would think.
Yeah, it was humbling. You get there and you look at the people that attend, and you look at yourself, you go and look in the mirror and you go, I have no reason to be here whatsoever.
So, well, listen, we'll pick this up on the back half of our segment, and join us on the flip side with General Brian Watson.
Thanks, Judge. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. $59.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety check. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. In Dixon County, there's an accident. It's going to be on Church Street at Water Street there in Dixon. It's slow as you come from Dixon headed towards Nashville through Kingston Springs as they work an accident on 40 eastbound. Again, there between Kingston Springs and Pegram. Again, extra time is needed. Still heavy out there in Wilson County from the earlier wreck, 40 westbound. Out there in Lebanon, just trying to get past 269. Heavy traffic continues on 24 westbound on through the Hickory Hollow area coming in from Rutherford County. Prince's Hot Chicken is hiring. Go by and see him today or log on to princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Camille Burdine with Ward 3 City Council in Lebanon, and I just want to wish WANT a happy anniversary. We are so excited you all have been here for 30 years, and we hope to see you for another 30 years.
This is David Walden with Wilson Macon Trust, and we would like to wish WANT a happy 30th birthday.
This is Larry Tomlinson, and I want to say happy 30th anniversary to WANT FM 98.9. Happy anniversary.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon.
I'm Michael Starr, a licensed local insurance agent with Health Markets Insurance Agency in Lebanon, Tennessee. Choosing the right Medicare plan for you can be confusing. Let me help you find a plan that best fits your needs and budget. Call 615-830-4875 to speak with a licensed insurance agent for a free appointment, virtually, by phone, or in person, to review your specific needs and help find a plan that's right for you. Health Markets Insurance Agency Incorporated is licensed in all states and D.C. Service and product availability varies. Agents may be compensated based on enrollment. No obligation to enroll.
Welcome back to Coleman and Company. Barry Tatum here on the home stretch of Coleman and Company. Coleman's on special assignment, and we're enjoying our conversation here with Brian Watson, retired Major General of the United States Army, West Point graduate, and now focusing on providing leadership instruction not only with retired military and at West Point, but in the corporate world as well. You mentioned that your plans were to go to Georgia Tech for the last 2 years. Why Georgia Tech?
Well, again, the reason was Cindy Vitale, and but I thought I wanted to be an engineer, and that was sort of how I'm wired, how my passion, and so that's a great engineering school. But what I found at West Point, it was just an incredible engineering program. And then my career in the Army as an engineer, it allows you just to do an incredibly diverse portfolio, whether you're down in units doing bridging operations or clearing minefields or destroying things with explosives and one day, and the next day working with somebody to restore a power grid like we did in Afghanistan, or build roadways. And it was an incredible career, and one that I look upon just really fondly.
Well, folks may not realize this, but my understanding is that West Point, with the United States the way it was, undeveloped essentially back in the early 19th century, West Point was really the cradle of engineering programs that are now all over the United States. It preceded Massachusetts Institute of Technology and certainly Georgia Tech. But it was to provide instruction or training for officers who could go out west to do surveying, do flood control, build bridges, those types of things. Am I off?
No, you're exactly right. So the military academy really was created because the country, coming out of the Revolutionary War and as it was preparing, realized that it needed officers to be instructed in the sciences, engineering, artillery, and so on. And so it started as an engineering school. It still has a strong engineering tradition, but it was born out of the need for the country to begin to build its own STEM-related science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, because you have to have that. You can be a great soldier in the heart, but you got to also be able to think.
Right, and so much of what we take for granted originated with the military, about the movement of supplies. I've read about FedEx that we all take for granted. Fred Smith came up with that idea because as a Marine officer in Vietnam, he had seen how the military could move supplies from point A to point B in a short amount of time out of necessity, and realized that that's something that could be transitioned to the corporate sector.
Yeah, it's, not to say that FedEx doesn't have it going on, or UPS or anybody, but nobody moves things like the United States Army. And it's just an incredible organization, incredible power of its ability to move men, material, soldiers, places, is just incredible, and particularly in crisis.
You touched on Afghanistan for a minute. You had several tours overseas during our War on Terror. Mm-hmm. And one of the last assignments that you had was head of engineering or Corps of Engineers in Afghanistan.
That's right. So I had tours both in Iraq and Afghanistan. My tour in Afghanistan, I was the head engineer for both as an Army officer, but also the head engineer for the other services, the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, and then also for NATO. And it was just, what an incredible time, incredible challenges. It's a tour, and by the way, that's where I met my wife, so a lot of good things came out of Afghanistan.
Oh, all right. Well, it's whether you have a viewpoint on it about the politics. I know that's become a focal point in some circles about our withdrawal from Afghanistan. But as part of the role of the Army that you're over there was to try to improve not only the logistical capability of the military and support capability of the military, but also to leave something for the people in Afghanistan that they could benefit from. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out, I assume, as the folks above your pay grade, my pay grade certainly, had planned for. And how does, I know you try to put your personal feelings away from that, but did we do a good job over there? I mean, did we accomplish a mission?
Judge, it's a great question. And I'm, the military's got a tradition of being apolitical, and so that will be sort of my response. very difficult to be in an operation for 20 years, turnover of various administrations, each having their own goals, all those objectives, I think, find their way into military plans and what we're doing in a country. And so very difficult, because I'm not sure that we really had a clear view of what the end state would look like in a place
exit
like
strategy.
An exit strategy. And, for the longest time, we had this tradition, this sense that when we go into a country and do a military operation like in Iraq and Afghanistan, overturn a government, that we're going to leave a democracy in our wake as an aftermath, as an outcome. And there's just some places in the world that are not ready for it yet. And so I'm disappointed with how it came out, how we exited. I'm disappointed with, I'm not sure that all of the treasure that we invested, both the lives and the fiscal resources, in the end will have had the full impact it could have. So I am disappointed with how it came out.
But I'm sure you're proud of the personnel, the men and women, and the tasks that they accomplished.
Yeah, no question. There is not a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine that my chest does not rise when I hear that they served in Afghanistan. And I think, if Americans could see how their soldiers, airmen, sailors, Marines, of all walks of life, rise to the occasion when they're challenged. They did everything that they were supposed to do and then some, and it just makes you just extraordinarily proud to be a veteran.
Well, on to the current responsibilities or challenge, mission that you have now. It's about providing leadership training, leadership motivation, skills, understanding. It's called the Thayer Institute. That's Thayer.
Right, Thayer Leadership.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's named after Sylvan Thayer, who I believe was the first superintendent at West Point.
You've done your judge. I should always know that if I'm going to have a cup of coffee with a judge of your caliber, that you've done your research.
Well, he was a West Point grad.
He was a West Point graduate, and then the first superintendent for many years at West Point. The system that is used at West Point to develop leaders, both from an academic standpoint and then as leaders of character, really has its roots in his teachings, how he set up the U.S. Military Academy. And so Thayer Leadership is named after Colonel Sylvanus Thayer.
Colonel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a colonel.
I thought maybe he was a general.
Yeah, no, we had much higher standards then.
Well, it's what you said that you have a number of retired military, not all, not exclusively in the Institute, but y'all, you go up to West Point frequently to teach other soldiers, cadets, leadership training, but you also provide that for the corporate sector, you and the Institute itself.
Yes, that's right. And so the driving idea is that even though we come at leadership from a military framework, the things that we've learned as senior leaders in the military absolutely 100% apply to every anybody that's leading a business. Doesn't matter what level you're leading at the business. Could be a shift leader in a production company, could be the CEO of a major financial advisory group or a pharmaceutical. At the end of the day, it is people that we lead. That's what we have in common. And so we use our experience in the military to talk about leadership and provide people in business some tools that we found work very well. And I've yet to have somebody in business come back to me and go, hey, I tried that, it didn't work.
And a big part of what you touched on is about the character, the quality of the people, the example that you set.
That's right.
And so the framework that you have, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you're in a leadership position, one of the fundamental things is you have to hold yourself to a higher standard.
Yeah, so one of the ideas is that if you want to lead any team, you better figure out how you're going to lead yourself first. And so having a set of values that then manifest themselves in a set of behaviors so that you remain true to those values. And then as leaders, don't hold your team sort of at bay. Let them inside of you. They have to be able to personally connect with you. They have to see themselves in you. Otherwise, you will never inspire them. And, you know, I tell people that when you take over any outfit, there are 3 transitions that we go through. First, we got to get people to believe us. Second is we got to get people to believe in us. And that is hugely different. And then the third one is that we have to get people to believe in themselves. And so the key, and I think the art of leadership, is moving your team through those 3 transitions.
Well, we could go on literally for hours. Unfortunately, we do have a limit on time here. But how long have you lived in Lebanon?
Yeah, so we've lived here coming up on almost 6 years, 5 years. And we, you know, after 23 moves with the Army, everybody, I have found Shangri-La, and I love it here. And my mission is to grow my roots deep. And my wife, Sigrun, she does it easily. A little harder for me, but she's pulling me along.
All right. Well, listen, as a native of this community, I want to say welcome.
Well, thank you.
It's my honor and privilege to have met you, and I hope our audience feels the same way. With that, that'll wrap up our program for this Monday morning. And for Coleman & Company, thanks for tuning in. And until then, have a marvelous day.